Hey guys, Underground Geek here, and I want to talk about a comic book, Astonishing X-Men #3. Number 2 just didn't live up to number 1. It was kind of boring, and number 3 is more or less the same thing, but it does have some redeeming qualities, or I should say quality, and that is Old Man Logan. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, Old Man Logan could do no wrong right now. I love everything that he's in. He shows up. You know who he kind of reminds me of? Bruce Willis in all of his movies, especially Die Hard. He just shows up. You can tell he's weathered. He's a little bit older. He begrudgingly takes assignments and things. And he shows up. He kind of complains about come to the Christmas party, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Shink, shink. Out comes the claws. Time to start cutting people. I just made that comparison. Maybe you'd think it's something totally different, but I just kind of see him as an old school action star, and they put him in things to kind of bring it back up. He is DC's Batman, or he is Marvel's Batman. Every time something's not doing good, just insert Wolverine, Old Man Logan. But anyway, not X-23. You're not real. # not my Wolverine. But anyway, Astonishing X-Men 3 really just deals with Logan and his trials in the astral plane fighting the Shadow King. The cover's pretty cool. I like it. It's kind of like the evolution of man, but it's the evolution of Wolverine. And as the comic goes through here, he's having to get through all these different trials, and he really starts talking about his situation and how he's dealing with everything and what's happened in his life so far and why he's different than the other Wolverine. And then we get the title page, and it is Life of X Part 3, okay? And I'm not really going to go through this too much because there's not much to this comic, but I want to kind of tell you about it. So at this point, Psylocke and the others are still trying to beat Shadow King, which is trying to take over all of the psychics in the world and steal their energy so that he can become more powerful. And a couple people have already done this review, but they've missed a couple things, or at least I haven't heard them talk about a couple things, so I wanted to bring them up since I read it. Okay, so they're in London. Psylocke is holding open a door for all the people to go through to the astral plane and kind of fight the Shadow King. So now they're all going through trials. And then we have, I believe, Bishop and Archangel protecting them because they can't move. They're in the astral plane. Okay, then all of a sudden Beast turns into Mystique while he's laying there. So does that mean that Beast has actually been Mystique this whole time and something's happened to him and this is just Mystique like trying to act like Beast? Would that not have been a cool story? Now, it could also have been maybe he changed into it because of the Shadow King. But I just thought that was really cool. I was like, whoa, was this a fake Beast this whole time? And like they just now caught it because she's not able to keep up the facade when she's in the astral plane? Because somebody points it out and I was like, wow, nobody ever said anything about that. But anyway, so the humans, as usual, show up and they're trying to interrupt what's going on. They're trying to get them to stand down and to stop. The military has showed up. And Archangel goes out to talk to them. And this is the Archangel that is at the same time also still kind of Apocalypse's Archangel. He changes back and forth between his personas. And if somebody angers him too much, he's almost like the Hulk. He turns into the evil Archangel. So they shoot a net at him. It hurts him. And then we get this weird scene that I'll talk about in a minute. So we're back to Logan fighting all these illusions. And he figures it out very quickly. That you think, oh, he's fixing to have a hardcore fight with all these illusions. He's just going to bash through them. He just shoots like an airwave out and destroys them all. And shows the tower at the end that he's trying to get to. He says, I know you're watching and listening. So listen to this. I ain't going to get pulled into any of your lies. I see you up there and I'm coming. And he says, this Logan is formidable. He understands this place. I'm almost impressed. And that's because he's been here before, but we'll talk about that later. But it's funny because he keeps going through each one of these trials and he says, nope, nope, nope. And just keeps walking through all these trials without anything affecting him. He's like, nope, 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 nope. It's like, wow, this is going to be a short issue. He's just blasting through all these trials, just walking through them and saying, not today, Satan. But anyway, at this point, the Shadow King cannot figure it out. He's like, how is he doing this? I don't understand. And that's when he says, I've been here before. It ain't going to work. And that's when Professor X finally talks to him, and he says, I need your help. This is me. I'm not fake Charles. And he says, yeah, but you're dead because, we saw that he had died and Red Skull took his brain and all that kind of stuff. But then we cut back to Archangel, and they hurt him with the nets, and he actually starts to turn into the other Archangel, and you're like, uh-oh. And the bad guys say, yeah, that's the one to be reckoned with. Yes, sir. I'm afraid we're about to lose every man up there. And he says, no, 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 no. I forgive you. And you're like, whoa. You're just like, what? Somebody's learned to handle their rage. If only the Hulk could do that, right? But anyway, he continues to talk to the guy on the helicopter, and they actually come to terms a little bit and have a discussion. Then we cut back to Logan again, and he's talking to Professor X, presumably, and he does this weird thing. He gets right in his face, and he looks creepy as heck, and he tells him, I'm still coming, man. I'm still coming. And that's when we're kind of saying, I think this is still the Shadow King. I don't think this is really Professor X, but it could be. They want you to think, oh, could it be or could it be? But then, he knows this ain't working, so he turns into his old X-Men armor and actually starts attacking Logan. He's like, listen to me, listen to me. And he says he's presumed himself beyond redemption, but he's not. He's just trying to talk to him. But anyway, at the same time, the Shadow King thinks he's fighting one of his illusions, Mr. Sinister, because Professor X is showing him that. But this is taking a toll on Professor X because he's starting to wither up a little bit. You can tell his spiritual body's starting to weaken a little. And so he convinces the Shadow King that he's winning, and then we cut to another scene where Psylocke and them are talking to the police, and everything's starting to go well. But then Shadow King Logan shows up and stabs a hole right through their little plan, literally. And that's where it ends, very sinister-like, with him with black eyes and smoke coming from them and stabbing that guy. And that's where we get our cliffhanger. And I was like, wow, this is a lot better than the last issue. Because Wolverine's just more interesting. He's got a good backstory, And so I really think you guys should check it out. I've always been a fan of Wolverine, not as much as, Venom or somebody like that. But I've always liked him. I always liked the X-Men TV show because he was in it. He was one of the coolest ones. I've always been a fan of brute force and basher and thrashers as opposed to, someone that is not as physical when they fight. I'd rather have someone like this. It's just more fun to watch. Also, I think a lot of him kind of like the Highlander when it comes to Wolverine and Old Man Logan. He just he outlives everyone, and that's just very interesting to me. But Astonishing X-Men 3 is a big improvement over the second one. The second one was boring. But this one's a lot better, mainly because the character's a lot better. I really hope that this is true, the rumors that I've heard about him getting his own series again and then X-23 being his sidekick, because that's what should have happened. And I'm kind of wondering when he's going to go back and we're going to get our regular Wolverine back. But this one's pretty interesting. But I can't wait to see if they actually do that series with him and the sidekick X-23, because that's the way it should be. It should just be him teaching her how to be a superhero. She is not a superhero yet. She should never have become Wolverine. She should be just X-23. But tell me, guys, what you think about this comic. If you've read it, tell me what you think about the things that I've noticed about it, and tell me what you're going to be reading this week. All right, guys, Underground Geek out.